Take up space, take up space, take up space. I walk in. Take up space, take up space. Ooh. Take up space, take up space, take up space. I walk in. Take up space. Ooh. I'ma just be me. Take up space.
Oh, this is kind of scary. I have read through this twice. Once to my therapist, who told me it was great. I pay her to say that. And then a second time, yeah, okay, we'll just start there. And then a second time was this morning when I was listening to Glorilla while doing my makeup. So, yeah, we're going to leave it there. Well, good morning, afternoon. We're afternoon now. Gosh, I just want to look at everybody. Before we dive in, I would like to acknowledge the energy in this room. There's a lot of incredible women, and you are women who have decided to show up for yourselves, your ambitions, your futures, and each other. There's something really powerful about that, and I'm honored to stand before you today. And actually, instead of standing before you, I would like to stand among you. If you've ever been in front of my lens, if I've captured a photo of you, if you've attended a workshop that I've put on, a pop-up, a corporate event, would you guys stand, please? Dana, I got dolphin photos of you. No, if we've clicked glasses at a cocktail event, if we've done a chamber event together, stand, please. Holy shit. I expected like 6 people. Thank you, because each of you have played into my story and what I'm going to talk about today. So thank you all very much. Please be seated. When I wrote that line, I really did only expect a couple people, so that's kind of humbling. Thank you all for being here, even if I texted you last minute last week, so I can find some familiar faces in the crowd. I appreciate that. I'm just going to throw those because I didn't know. When Diane invited me to be part of this event and asked me to come on as a speaker, I wasn't so sure. I went into the chamber office in December to talk about the opportunity, and I was like, are you sure, me? Diane has known me for nearly 30 years, and she's had the pleasure of keeping up to date on much of my personal and professional life. She will tell you a story about my very first formal chamber appearance a few years back, and how I hopped my ass up on top of a bar at a venue where we were having an event. It was supposed to be a casual little speed networking event, yeah. And I showed up in my best business attire, which was a dress with fishnets and combat boots. I like to kind of say that I'm an exotic bird. I recognize that my appearance isn't necessarily what one would traditionally find in a chamber event or in a women's business networking event. Within the first 5 minutes of that event, I had said fuck twice. If you're keeping tally today, you can go ahead and mark that. Diane, you're sure you're good with me speaking? Yeah, she's like, you already have the microphone, lady. I can't take it away from you now. So we're just...
Why we love you.
That's the green light of consent. We're going to go with that. I have attended this event in the past, and I've had moderate success as a vendor. And the last year here, I was kind of sure that Carnegie Village had busted in most of their residents. So now I do know many a blue hair, and I aspire to be one in the coming future. But if you are a relic of righteousness, I do suggest that you earmuff. So far, I haven't seen anyone walk out. If your ears are delicate, or if you've already decided you don't like me, now's your chance.
Green light, Dana.
I hope that in the coming 15 minutes, I'm able to illustrate how life may surprise you when you're open to new frames. Let me see if I can hear this. Oh, it worked. I was nervous about that. My name is Courtney Specht. I am the owner of Stag Bird Curated Photo Experiences. Over the last several years, I have built a 6-figure photography studio. not because I have the best gear or a massive social media following or a fancy degree. In fact, I never graduated college. I built this business because I learned how to shift my focus onto myself, on what I wanted and what I refused to accept any longer. And that's what I want to talk about today. Because life is a lot like a camera. It's about focus, composition, exposure. Like Diane had come up with, it's about capturing the good, developing from the bad, and knowing when to take another shot. A camera is a tool that captures light, but it is the person behind the lens who decides where to point it. Thanks, Teresa. The person also decides what to highlight and what to let fade into the background. Many of you who have known me for some time recognize that for years I lived in a frame someone else set for me. A perfectly designed image of what I was supposed to be. A good wife, a doting mama bear, a happy homemaker. I was a woman who didn't make waves. I stayed away from controversy. And I was someone who certainly didn't take up too much space. I smiled on cue, but I had no control over my own settings. I was overexposed to criticism. I was underexposed to joy. And I was running on auto mode, reacting instead of creating. Until one day I adjusted my aperture. I opened myself up to possibilities of change. I stepped out of that controlled composition and I chose a different focus. Myself. 5 years ago, on my 35th birthday, I had one of those, is this where you want to be when Jesus comes back moments? The resounding answer was no. I had my kids and they were my sole source of joy, but let's be honest, that's a lot of pressure to put on small children. I needed more than a life that felt like a scene from the movie Groundhog Day. I was waking up, going through the motions, and repeating it all over again. When what I have deemed as my practice marriage ended, I had only my cameras, my kids, and a bank account that laughed every time I opened it. I was making less than $40,000 a year as a newly single mom, and I had to figure it the fuck out fast. I had to turn my little business into something that could sustain me and my family. And let me tell you, people had opinions. You'll never make it. You should get a real job. Photography is just a hobby, not something you can build a life on. Let me tell you, I would rather sell pictures of my crusty ass toes than to listen to that type of rhetoric.
Amen.
To be honest, I almost had to. But here's the thing. Life, like photography, is about perspective. I could have focused on the doubt, the instability, and the fear. I could have let those words frame my future. But instead, I reframed the shot. I got clear on my vision. I stopped focusing on survival. And instead, I started focusing on success. I leaned into this brand, being bold, quirky, cinematic. I leaned into the art of storytelling. I leaned into Courtney, myself. Because the moment you decide to truly see yourself the way you deserve to be seen, everything changes. Yes. Resilience is adjusting your settings when the lighting changes unexpectedly. It's knowing that sometimes you have to take a few blurry shots before you get the one that's sharp and full of life. It's about trusting yourself to step outside of the frame someone else has built for you to create your own picture. And let's be clear, resilience is not about bouncing back, but it is about moving forward. It's about taking those out of focus, uncertain moments and turning them into clarity. Resilience is not a comeback. It's becoming the master of your own universe. A couple years back, I signed the lease on my first studio. For over half a decade, I worked out of a garage and a spare room in my house. but I needed to grow and I needed to change. I found out that a space that was available in a building where I had done day rentals before, it was far too much money. It was too far of a drive, Dana. Driving to the historic West Bottoms from here in Belton when I barely left my house, that was going to require commitment. The day I saw the studio was the day I signed paperwork. There were still plenty of other photographers waiting to see it, and I knew that if I sat back and overthought, someone else could take that from me. I knew what was in my bank account. It was barely enough to get me through a few months, at most. And then winter would hit. And like it does in photography, sales stop. I called my dad from the street outside of the studio building to tell him about it. I was scared shitless. I had many reasons not to do it. He told me I'd just decide what was right. And I told him I was terrified. And like dads do, he said, So, I signed that lease. Scared. I got my keys. Scared. To this day, I do things that I'm not sure are going to work out, and sometimes they just don't. And it is goddamn scary. But I bet on myself.
Yeah.
Scared. The scared part does not matter. The fact that I bet on myself, that does. Success, as I have learned, is not a number in your bank account. It is not a title someone else gives you. It is not followers or likes or validation from people who do not affect your life. Success is waking up every morning and knowing you are living a life that you chose, not one that someone chose for you. And to get here, you have to be willing to take the shot. Not every one of them will be perfect. Some will be underexposed, some overexposed, and some completely out of focus. But you keep shooting. In March of 2023, I dreamed up the Sexy Selfie Workshop. It's not just a class on selfies, but a space where women can reconcile their feelings about their bodies, confidence, and self-image. A place to turn the camera inward to see themselves with love, power, and dare I say, prowess. Again, I was terrified. Would anyone sign up? There's some people who did that class. Anybody that? No? Okay, there's a couple. All right, thank you. Thanks for that. I was terrified to put this event on. Would anyone sign up? Would they get it? Would this idea, this risk actually resonate? 3 days later, the event was sold out. At the event, women who had never met before bonded instantly, sharing stories, lifting each other up, and discovering confidence in front of their own lenses. It was raw, exciting, and energetic. It was downright electric, much like the feeling in this room today. I skipped a year to rebuild, refresh, and reimagine. And when I launched again, I was still just as scared, maybe more. But this year, we sold out in under 6 hours. Bigger, bolder, packed with even more power. And now, weeks away from doing it all over again, I know one thing for sure. The best risks, they're the ones that make you nervous. They're the ones that shake you up. They're the ones that pay off in ways you never expected. A camera is a powerful tool, but so is the environment you shoot in. You look around this room. This is your community. These are the women who will celebrate you when you win and hold you up when you struggle. Find your people. The ones who push you, the ones who challenge you, the ones who see you. Because a powerful woman is a dangerous thing, and together we are unstoppable. We recently held the Witch With Us event this year. It was a free photo op in a park with no real direction or expectations. We thought a few gals would show up. We had over 60. Find your community. If you can't find one, make one. Together, we form a comprehensive picture and a full album. And I want to talk to you about negative space. In photography, negative space is an empty area around your subject. It's the part of the image that is not in focus. The background, the blank space. The space that can either balance an image or overwhelm it. Sometimes negative space is intentional. It gives breathing room and directs the eye. But if there's too much negative space, the subject becomes small, lost, overpowered by emptiness. Isn't that what so many of us do in our own lives? We create these images of our existence where we leave too much negative space. We make ourselves the smallest part of the photo. We step aside and we let others take the stage. We shrink ourselves in meetings, in relationships, and in rooms where we belong.
Say it louder, girl.
We soften our voices. We apologize for taking up time, for needing something, for being. Women have been conditioned to frame their lives in a way that keeps them from filling the space that we deserve. I see it all the time in my studio, in my clients, and even in myself. I'll be photographing a woman and she'll pull in and kind of shrug herself together, cross her arms, her eyes will tilt down. She'll say, oh, I don't want to take up too much space in the photo. And to that I say, why the fuck not? You are not taking space from anyone else. This world has room for you, but you have to claim it. You have to step forward. Center yourself in your own life and fill the frame. I think it's time we process our film, develop, do a little editing. This is especially for the business owners in the room. We'll try the hands up again. Who owns a business? Who is a CEO, a CFO, a chair, a stakeholder? There's a lot of women in this room. Thank you. I hope that this piece really resonates with you all. When being told about being an entrepreneur, about being spoon-fed, what they want you to know about being a woman, especially in business. They'll tell you about all the exposure, the freedom to frame your own shot, to compose a life on your own terms, to wake up with purpose and to set your own rules, sip coffee at sunrise and capture the success in golden light. But they don't tell you about the underexposed moments. The first time you stare at an empty inbox, or the nights you count every dollar twice. You hope the numbers might change on their own. They don't tell you about the sight of an image not yet in focus, a dream too big to fit in the frame alone, about the silence between the shutter clicks, about the fear that grips your throat when you put your work out there and you wait to see if the world feels its value. They don't tell you that your business and your life will be a mirror. It's going to reflect back the version of you who still hesitates, who wonders if she deserves to take up space in the shot. They won't tell you that you will build not from a perfect shot list, but from instinct. That you will shoot in low light, in uncertainty, in the grainy in-between. You're going to learn that to compose beauty from chaos and to adjust your settings on the fly. To trust your eye when no one else sees the vision. That there will be nights when the weight of it presses into your ribs and whispers to you, who the hell do you think you are? They also don't tell you about the mornings when you wake up and realize no matter how many times you had to start over, you're still here. You're still breathing. You're still framing the shot. You're still capturing every moment that says, you are not done yet. You're still defying every statistic, every doubt, every reason you should have faded into the background. They don't tell you that somewhere along the way, a blur of movement will stop. That you will learn entrepreneurship. Being a woman, being a human, isn't about money or metrics. It's about choosing yourself every single day. That the dark room of becoming is where the magic happens. That the image of your future is built in the contrast, in the shadows, and in the light only you know how to find. So if you are in the trenches of it, if you are staring at your life like an unfinished frame, wondering how the heck you're going to keep going, take a breath. Adjust your focus. That's the part they don't tell you about. This is the part where you develop into what you are meant to be. In business, as a mother, as a friend, as a woman, as a person. You are the photographer of your own life. You set the exposure. You choose the depth, the angles, the light. And when you focus on yourself, your strength, your resilience, your power, you become impossible to blur. So let me ask you this, where is your focus? Are you zoomed in on your fears, or are you composing the life you want to live? Because if your current picture isn't what you want it to be, adjust your settings. Ladies, it's time to step out of auto mode and take control of your own personal life camera. When you're staring down that barrel of your lens, you get to make the decisions. You are setting the scene of your days. So now I give you a call to action. Pick up the camera of your life. Adjust your focus. And take the freaking shot. Thank you.